G'day folks, it's Rob here and welcome to our backyard farm. In today's clip we're going to be talking about aquaponics, and more specifically I'll be answering a question I get a lot, and that is, Rob, how many fish can I throw in this barrel or IBC? Now, it may appear to be a fairly easy question to answer, but it's a little bit more complicated than that if you want to run a stable aquaponic system and not lose any fish along the way. Now, I am talking just to you folks out there who want to set up a backyard aquaponic hobby system using media-based grow beds to grow your family some healthy veggies and fish. There are a few different ways you can tweak the system to make it run more efficiently, and I'll cover a few of those towards the end of the clip and also in future upcoming clips I plan to post to the channel here. If you are a budding aquaponicist and you want to check out some of the clips that I've got in store, all you need to do is hit that little subscribe button down there, check the little bell icon, and you'll be sent a notification whenever one's uploaded. And after this clip is finished, you can hop on over to our channel where you'll find a playlist that goes through a lot of the DIY aquaponics clips that I've already uploaded to the channel, and you can suss them out. Now, on to answering the question, how many fish can I throw in my system? Well, a lot of folks will recommend using tank volume as your metric as to how many fish you can run. Now, for me, I don't think that's a very good idea, mainly because a lot of these folks miss out the all-important biofiltration aspect when they're talking about tank volume to fish ratio. The best method I think you can use when it comes to calculating how many fish you can run is to base it on the total amount of wet media you have in the grow beds. The reason being is this wet media is effectively a biofilter that will process the ammonia that has been released by the fish. The wet surface of the media in the grow beds is the perfect environment for bacteria to set up colonies, and it's these bacterial colonies that will process the waste from the fish, detoxifying the water and making the nutrients available for the plants. When you delve deeper into aquaponics, you'll hear this surface area of the media called the biological surface area, or BSA. That's basically because the surface of the media provides a home for the bacteria to set up shop so they can oxidize the fish waste. For you folks who aren't quite sure what the bacteria do, there's basically two types of nitrifying bacteria in play here. We have the nitrous ammonas, which will convert the ammonia, which is toxic to the fish, into nitrite. Now, the nitrite is also toxic to the fish, but that's fine because a second group of bacteria, Nitrobacter, will convert the nitrite into plant available nitrate, which is also not toxic to fish in the level seen in a sensibly stocked backyard aquaponics system. Just quickly, both these forms of bacteria are ever present around us in the atmosphere. As long as you set up the right conditions, a little bit of ammonia in the system, nice damp media for them to set up their colonies, they'll come along and happily set up shop for you without you having to raise a finger. That's basically called cycling a system, which is a whole other clip, and we're not going to get into it just here. Just to let you know too, this equation has a little bit of wriggle room, so to speak, built into it. So don't be too worried if my metric to imperial conversions aren't dead on, or if I haven't taken into account there's rounded corners on the grow beds when we work out the equation. There's more than enough slack there to allow for those things. Now, on to the equation. The first thing we got to work out is how much space we have available. Primarily, how much space do we have available for the hydroponic or the grow bed side of the aquaponic system. Now, for an example, we'll use our original IBC based system. I worked out that I had enough room for 3 grow beds with enough space to pop a sump tank underneath one of them, an IBC to use as a fish tank. I also had a bit of space left over for the later addition of filters. Now we know that we've got 3 IBC grow beds to work with, we can work out how much wet media we will have in total volume. Now, when I say wet media, what I mean is any media that is underwater at any time during a flood and drain cycle of a grow bed or in a constant flooded grow bed. The reason being is the bacteria need wet media to be able to colonize. So on to the math side. First off, we need to work out how much volume we're playing with in each bed. We'll work out the volume of one bed and then we'll multiply it by 3. So to work out the volume is a very easy sum. We multiply the length of the grow bed by the width of the grow bed by the height of the grow bed. Now, with these grow beds here, they're 120 centimeters long. They're 100 centimeters wide and roughly 30 centimeters tall, which is roughly 47 1/4 inches long 39.4 inches wide and 11.8 inches high for you folks over in the States. So before we work out the volume of wet media, we need to actually remove some of the height from the grow bed. The reason being is we need to allow for 2.5 centimeters or an inch worth of lip to stop the media falling out of the grow bed. We're also going to allow for another 2.5 centimeters or inch of dry media on top of the wet media. The reason being is the wet media, if exposed to UV light, will grow algae, which can cause a problem. Basically, it's robbing nutrients from the system for a start. So what we need to do is remove 5 centimeters or 2 inches in total from the height of the grow bed. So first off, we'll do the sum in metric. Removing the 50 mil now gives us a grow bed that's 120 centimeters long, 100 centimeters wide and 25 centimeters high, which gives us 300,000 cubic centimeters. To convert 300,000 cubic centimeters into liters, you divide that by 1,000 because there's 1,000 cubic centimeters in 1 liter. That gives us a total wet media volume of 300 liters. Now for you folks in the States, the dimensions are 47.25 inches long, 39.4 wide and only 9.8 inches high, giving us roughly 18,244 cubic inches. Now there's 231 cubic inches in a gallon, so if we divide the 18,244 by the 231, we get roughly 79 gallons of wet media per grow bed. So now we know the wet media volume in a single bed, we can work out how many fish that bed can sustain. Now just quickly, when we are talking media, we're talking aquaponic suitable media. Things like rock that is anywhere from 20 to 25 millimeters or 3/4 to an inch in size, with no carbonates in it, volcanic rock known as scoria here in Australia, expanded shale, and also the clay that we like to grow in our systems here. So the rule of thumb states that for every 25 litres of wet media we have in the grow bed, which is 6.6 gallons, that's enough biofiltration to handle the waste from one fish we want to grow out to 500 grams or just over 1 pound in size. So getting back to our equation, there is 300 litres in the grow bed, so we divide that by 25 and it comes to the total of 12 fish that one of these grow beds can process the waste from, so they can happily grow out to harvest size. The same again for gallons. We divide 79 by 6.6 and we get roughly the same amount, 12 fish that we can grow out in a grow bed this size. So that means with this 3-bed system, as in the example, we can stock 36 fish that we want to grow out to 500 grams or around about a pound in size. Now, as I said before, this equation does have a little bit of wriggle room in it. One example where that can come in handy is if you have a plant with a large root mass growing in a grow bed that is slowing down the flow of water and eventually starts to collect solids. If left unchecked, you could end up with an anaerobic zone down in there where those solids are slowly decomposing, and they could potentially lead to a dangerous spike in ammonia and nitrite, which could end up costing you some, if not all, of your fish. One way you can remove the problem of solids making it to the grow beds in the first place is to set up a solids filter between the fish tank and the grow bed itself. Now, when it comes to tanks, the rule of thumb I like to follow is stocking one fish I want to grow out to 500 grams or a pound in 20 litres of water or 5.5 gallons. So that basically means in an IBC system, no more fish than 50 in there at any one time. Now, to tell you the truth, I do think it's easier just to stick with the 36 fish in there to begin with. Later on, if you want to add extra grow beds, by all means add the extra grow beds and stock more than 36 in the tank. But for your first crack, I'd pretty much will leave it at around about the 36 fish mark. So there you go, folks. I do hope that this has helped you work out how many fish you can throw in that IBC or barrel in your aquaponics system. Just before we go, I need to send out a quick thank you and g'day to the marvelous folks over on Patreon helping to support us here. You can find our super contributors links to websites and Facebook pages down in the description below. Also too, you can check out the how to build your own aquaponics IBC system. It's a chop and flip jobby, and you can also subscribe down there too if you want to come along and see future aquaponics videos. I do hope you're all well and happy and your own systems are booming, and I will catch you later. Cheers all, have a top one.